In a quiet, forgotten kingdom, where mountains were made of lost socks and forests were the legs of a tall wooden bed, lived a very small, very shy dust bunny named Fluff. This kingdom, the land of under the bed, was a soft, sleepy place. Gentle rivers of shadow flowed between towering storybooks, and the sky was a ceiling of wooden slats and thick, cozy mattress. Fluff was a gentle little creature, made of tiny wisps of gray and soft, forgotten fuzz. He was a master of stillness, a champion of quiet. When the great warm sun sent golden ladders of light slanting through the window blinds, Fluff would watch as a million tiny dust motes danced and sparkled in the air. They were like tiny glittering stars, each one catching the light for a perfect shining moment. But Fluff himself felt anything but shiny. He was the color of a cloudy day, the color of a whispered secret. He would watch his fellow dust bunnies, all swirling and dusty, as they tumbled and drifted on the gentle currents of air that breathed through the room. They were happy just to be. But Fluff was a dreaming dust bunny. He would look up past the wooden slats of the bed, toward the bright window, and see them. The clouds. They were magnificent. Big, soft, and impossibly white, they sailed across a sky of the most brilliant blue. Sometimes, when the sun began to set, they would blush with the softest pinks and glow with the warmest yellows. They were everything Fluff was not. They were bright and colorful, and everyone could see them. A deep sigh would ripple through Fluff's tiny fuzzy body. He didn't want to be a small gray blob in the shadows forever. He wanted to be a cloud. He wanted to float high in the big, open air and be painted with the colors of the sunrise. It was a big dream for such a little dust bunny, a secret wish he held in his very center. One morning, as Fluff was dreaming his cloud dream, a new light appeared in his world. It wasn't the usual golden ladder from the sun. No, this was a steady, brilliant patch of color, peeking out from behind a mountain range of lumpy, forgotten sneakers. It was a piece of the sky right here under the bed. It was a deep, calming blue. A little thrill like a tiny spark fizzed inside Fluff. What was that? It was the color he had only ever seen in the distant sky. Could it be? Could a piece of the sky have fallen into his kingdom? He had to know. For the first time, the thought of a journey didn't seem scary. It seemed necessary. The dream of being a cloud felt a little bit closer, a little more real. He needed that blue. So, with a hopeful little puff, the swirling, dreaming dust bunny floated on. His journey began across the vast, dusty plains of the wooden floor. The floorboards were like long, wide roads, with deep canyons of darkness between them. Fluff had never traveled so far from his cozy corner behind the bedpost. He drifted gently, a tiny gray explorer in a vast, quiet land. He passed by a sleeping toy car, its red paint chipped and faded. He floated around a giant, mysterious crumb from a long-ago cookie. The world was so much bigger than he had ever imagined. As he got closer to the blue light, the ground became more treacherous. He had reached the Sneaker Mountains. They smelled of adventures, of playgrounds and grassy parks. To little Fluff, they were enormous, with long stringy vines he knew were called laces. He had to be careful not to get tangled. He pushed himself forward with tiny puffs of air, his wisps trembling with effort and excitement. And then he saw it clearly. It wasn't a piece of the sky. It was a block. A perfect wooden square block lying on its side. It was painted the most beautiful shade of blue he had ever seen up close. It was the blue of a calm, deep ocean, the blue of a tiny, forgotten robin's egg. It was smooth and cool, and it seemed to hum with a quiet, peaceful energy. Fluff drifted closer, his fuzzy body almost vibrating with awe. He floated all the way around it, marveling at its sharp corners and its smooth, painted sides. In one corner, a tiny, almost invisible sliver of blue paint was peeling away. It was a tiny, delicate flake, as small as one of Fluff's own wisps. Would he be brave enough to take it? He took a deep, dusty breath. This was for his dream. He floated over, and with the gentlest nudge, the little flake of sky blue paint detached from the block. It was so light. It clung to Fluff's side like a tiny, colorful friend. He looked at his fuzzy gray body, now with a speck of brilliant blue attached. A jolt of pure happiness went through him. He wasn't just gray anymore. He was gray and blue. He felt a little brighter, a little more hopeful. He had a piece of the sky. He was one step closer to being a cloud. Feeling braver than ever before, Fluff knew he couldn't stop now. A real cloud wasn't just blue. It was so many colors. And as he looked out across the kingdom from the top of the Sneaker Mountain, he saw it. Far away, past a dark forest of chair legs, was a soft, warm glow. It was a gentle, happy color, the color of a summer flower. It was pink. So, with a hopeful little puff, the swirling, dreaming dust bunny floated on. This part of the journey was different. He left the open plains and entered the shadowy forest of chair legs. The legs were tall and round, like ancient trees in a fairy tale. The air here was still and heavy. Fluff had to navigate carefully, weaving his way through the dark wooden columns. He felt very small in this part of the kingdom, but the memory of the bright blue on his side gave him courage. He kept his focus on the soft glow ahead. It seemed to pulse with warmth. What could it be, making such a lovely rosy light in this dark place? After what felt like a very long time, he emerged from the forest of legs and found himself in a soft, hilly landscape. He had reached the foothills of the Lost Sock Mountains, and there, nestled in a valley of worn-out cotton, was the source of the light. It was a piece of yarn. A single long, wonderfully soft piece of pink yarn, unraveled from the cuff of a child's sweater. It wasn't a loud, flashy pink. It was the gentle pink of a seashell, the sweet pink of fluffy cotton candy at the fair. It looked so warm and inviting. It was the color of a happy hug. Fluff floated down and landed softly upon it. The yarn was even softer than he was. It felt like landing on a warm, friendly cloud. He wiggled with delight. He could stay here forever. But then he remembered his dream. He needed a piece of this wonderful color. He searched along the length of the yarn, his new blue flakes shimmering in the dim light. He found a spot where the yarn had become fuzzy and frayed. Tiny, delicate strands of pink fluff were sticking out, just waiting to be set free. They looked just like him, only they were the color of a sunset. Gently, carefully, he tugged at one of the loose strands with a wisp of his own body. A tiny tuft of the softest pink fluff came away and clung to him, right next to the blue flake. Now he was gray and blue and pink. He did a little swirling dance in the air. He felt beautiful. He felt almost like a work of art. The gray was his quiet self, the blue was his piece of the sky dream, and the pink was a piece of warmth and softness. He was changing. He was transforming. He felt a new energy buzzing inside him. He needed one more color. The most cheerful color of all. The color of the sun itself. He looked around, his body a swirl of gray and blue and pink, and he scanned the horizon of his kingdom. And he saw it. Oh, he saw it. It was just a glimmer, a tiny flash of light from behind a tall, flat mountain he had never dared to explore. A discarded picture book. The glimmer was bright and happy. It had to be yellow. So, with a hopeful little puff, the swirling, dreaming dust bunny floated on. This was the most challenging part of his journey yet. To reach the glimmer, he had to cross the slippery sea. A small forgotten puddle of spilled juice from long ago had dried into a sticky, shiny patch on the wooden floor. Fluff had seen other dust bunnies get stuck there, and he knew he had to be very careful. He couldn't float across it, the air was too still. He had to go around. He journeyed along the edge, a long and winding path. He could see his reflection in the shiny surface. He saw a fuzzy, colorful little creature looking back at him, and it made him puff up with pride. Finally, he made it past the sticky sea and reached the picture book mountain. It was lying flat, and on its cover was a picture of a smiling, happy sun. But that wasn't the source of the glimmer. He had to go around the book. And there, tucked behind it, was the treasure. It was a little rubber duck. It must have rolled under the bed during bath time and been forgotten. It was squeezed between the book and the wall, but its cheerful little head was poking out. And it was the most brilliant, glorious yellow Fluff had ever seen. It was the yellow of a buttercup in a sunny field. It was the yellow of a fresh, zesty lemon. It was the yellow of pure, unfiltered happiness. The duck's plastic surface was smooth and shiny, and it made the whole dark corner feel bright and joyful. But how could he get a piece of it? It was smooth plastic. There were no peeling flakes or fuzzy bits. Fluff felt a moment of doubt. Had he come all this way for nothing? He floated closer, examining the duck from every angle. He drifted over its head and saw it. On the very top of its head, where a child must have bumped it against something, was a tiny rough scuff mark. And on that scuff mark, a minuscule speck of yellow plastic had been lifted up. It was so small a human would never have noticed it. But to Fluff it was a golden nugget. With more care than he had ever used before, he floated down and gently bumped against the speck. It broke free, a tiny shard of pure sunshine, and stuck fast to his fuzzy body. He had it. He had all the colors. He backed away from the duck and looked at himself. He was no longer a simple gray dust bunny. He was a tapestry. A swirling, dusty, dreaming masterpiece of gray with a spot of calm blue, a tuft of warm pink, and a speck of happy yellow. He felt complete. Now he thought, now I am ready. I am ready to be a cloud. He found the highest point in the whole kingdom, the very top of a forgotten fluffy slipper. It was his mountain peak. From here he could feel the currents of air more strongly. He knew that sometimes when the bedroom door opened, a great gust of wind would sweep through the land of under the bed. That was his chance. That wind would be strong enough to lift him up, up and out the window, where he would join his brothers and sisters in the sky. He settled himself on the fluffy peak of the slipper and he waited. He waited past the time when the sun ladders grew long and faded away. He waited as the room grew dark and the moon cast soft, silvery shadows. He waited, holding his colors close, dreaming of his ascent. Then it happened. He heard the click of the bedroom door. A river of bright light from the hallway flooded his kingdom. And with it came the wind. A mighty rushing river of air, bigger than any current he had ever felt before. This is it. His whole body seemed to hum. The wind hit him. It lifted him from the slipper, and he was airborne. But he wasn't floating gently upwards. He was tumbling and spinning, dancing and twirling in the gust. The blue, the pink, and the yellow swirled with his gray, creating a beautiful, dizzying kaleidoscope of color. He was heavier now, with his collected treasures. He wasn't light enough to fly away. The gust of wind subsided as the door closed, and Fluff tumbled gently back down to the wooden floor. He landed softly, right in front of something round and shiny. It was a button, a big black glossy button that must have fallen from a coat. He lay there for a moment, his dream slipping away. He wasn't a cloud. He was still just a dust bunny under the bed. A wave of sadness washed over him. All that journey, all that bravery, for nothing. But then he saw something. In the shiny surface of the button, like a dark mirror, was a reflection. He saw a little creature swirling with soft gray, and dotted with the most beautiful bits of blue, and pink and yellow. As he moved, the colors danced and shimmered. The creature in the reflection wasn't a plain gray blob. It was interesting. It was unique. It was beautiful. Who was that? He wiggled a fuzzy wisp. The colorful creature in the button mirror wiggled back. A slow, dawning realization spread through Fluff. That was him. He was looking at himself. He hadn't become a cloud. He hadn't flown away into the sky. He had become something else. Something new. He had become Fluff, the colorful dust bunny. He had gathered the colors not to become something else, but to become more himself. The quiet gray was his foundation, his gentle nature. The brave blue was his dream of the sky. The warm pink was his soft heart. And the happy yellow was the joy he had found on his journey. He wasn't a copy of a cloud in the sky. He was a one-of-a-kind masterpiece right here in the land of under the bed. His home. A deep, happy joy, warmer than the pink yarn and brighter than the yellow duck, filled him from his center to his wispiest tips. He did a little swirling, twirling dance right there in front of the button, watching his beautiful colors spin. From that day on, Fluff was the happiest creature in his kingdom. He no longer hid in the shadows, feeling invisible. He would drift proudly in the sun ladders, letting his colors sparkle and shine for all the motes to see. He was a tiny walking rainbow in the quiet, dusty world. He had learned that he didn't need to be something else to be beautiful. He just needed to be himself, with all the color and courage he had gathered along the way. And as he swirled happily near the wooden leg of the bed, he sometimes wondered, if there were so many amazing colors to be found right here in his own home, what other incredible colorful treasures might be waiting just beyond the bedroom door? A whole new world of adventure could be just a single gust of wind away. A moral: true beauty and self-worth come not from trying to be something else, but from embracing all the unique and colorful parts that make you who you are.